Hey guys, and welcome to week 12, Snoozers and Losers. I'm joined by Tony from Fantasy Quick Hits, Kyle from Boom Bust Fantasy Football. I'm Corey with Boom Bust Fantasy Football, and should have a good show. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Dude, I'm doing great. It's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, man. Ready for some turkey.
That's the
Yeah.
fat man's holiday. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
We're in the same bloodline. I also really love food, not going to lie. So I'm really excited about it. Awesome. Alrighty, guys. You guys just want to jump right in here and start talking some Snoozers and Losers?
Yeah, dude, let's get it.
Good.
Love it. Let's pull up the big board, and I'm actually going to jump over here. I'm going to switch Tony spots. Perfect. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start off with quarterbacks. And Kyle, I'm going to let you go first with your quarterback. What you got for me?
I'm going to hit you with my snoozer quarterback, Mr. Tyrod Taylor.
Okay.
He is playing the Jets. And, I mean, he looked good last week coming back. Had a few rushing yards. I think he had like 6 carries. But, the Jets are not going to be able to stop him. And I think he'll probably rush for a touchdown this week. I love that matchup. So he's a big time snoozer for me this week.
Yeah, those rushing yards, big bonus for Tyrod Taylor. Tony, what do you got?
What does it say about a defense when you can't stop Tyrod Taylor?
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with my snoozer as well, and I'm gonna throw a guy up here who's gotten a lot of talk the past couple of weeks, and that's Mr. Cam Newton. Threw 27 passes on Sunday, completing almost 80%. He guy looked pretty sharp. Rushed 10 times for 46 yards against that Washington defense. We kind of expected Ron Rivera to lock him down. It didn't really work out that way. Not only did he look sharp, didn't turn the ball over at all. I'm looking for him to have a big week this week versus a very soft Miami defense in week 12.
Yeah, big waiver wire pickup for people this week for sure. Kyle, who's your loser?
My loser is Ryan Tannehill. Had a rough game last week against Houston. He's definitely not going to do any better against New England. A.J. Brown already banged up. You know that defense is going to lock him down anyways. Not much else to throw to there for Mr. Tannehill after that right now. So I don't think he has a very good game this week at all. So I'm staying far, far away from Mr. Tannehill this week.
Same. All right, Tony, let's talk some Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a surprise to see him on the loser side. This guy is ordinarily a top 3, top 5 quarterback in fantasy. And I love Stafford, just not this week. Rams are traveling to Green Bay. The Packers are very tough against the pass, and I just don't like this matchup. And I'm not telling you necessarily to bench Stafford, but I've got him ranked somewhere in that 12 to 15 range this week.
Alrighty. Kirk Cousins had a pretty good showing against them, but still tough.
Yeah, I think this week traveling to Green Bay, Cousins did kind of light them up a little bit. But remember, Stafford is still down. Bobby Trees lost him for the season. Although I like Jefferson, OBJ hasn't really had a chance to learn this offense. He's old and banged up. I don't think that he's going to be what many people expect him to be. So I don't know that he has the firepower this week to put up Kirk Cousins type number. He isn't throwing the ball up to Justin Jefferson.
Yep, I totally agree with you there. All right, guys, here's my wild card. Eat your hearts out. It's Derek Carr against Dallas. Kyle, we'll let you go first.
Oh, he's got to be a snoozer against Dallas. What else can you say? You can throw on Dallas. Waller and Renfro, I think, are going to go crazy this week. You got to start Carr unless you just have like one of these top 3 guys. Snoozer.
What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to put him in a snoozer column. It's a neutral matchup for Carr. He's been struggling as of late, and his attempts are down. The pass we've seen steady decrease over the past 3 weeks. We have 46 attempts, 35 attempts, 27 attempts. Hard to put up solid fantasy numbers when you're not throwing as many passes. But I do think that at some point here, they're going to have to make a push to get on track if they want to make a push for the playoffs. So I'm on the same page with Kyle. I'll put him in my snoozer column this week. This could be a get right game for him.
Yep. Should be.
I think it will be. Unfortunately, for my
unfortunately, as Cowboys fans, yeah. Alrighty, let's move on to running backs really quick. Then, Tony, I'm going to let you go first. What running back you want to throw at me?
Yeah, let me start with James Robinson. I'm going to put him up on the board, put him in my snoozer column. If you kept an eye on this game on Sunday, week 11, when they played San Francisco right from the start just totally dominated Jacksonville, controlled that football. I think their opening drive went for 13 minutes and 5 seconds. So they really didn't allow the Jags to have the ball much at all. Jaguars only possessed the ball for about 8 minutes in the first half. And that should be a lot different this week versus a very porous Atlanta run defense. Absolutely love James Robinson in this bounce back game. I love him in this matchup. Put him down as a low end RB1.
Awesome. Kyle, what do you got?
I'm going to hit you with my loser, Mr. Zach Moss. I'm pretty sure I had him as a loser last week, but it's even worse this week. Matt Breida has ruined this backfield, if that's possible, because it was already pretty bad with him and Singletary, and now they throw Matt Breida in. Zach Moss is just not getting workloads, not doing anything near what you thought you'd get when you drafted him. Last week they played Indy, which is a tough matchup, granted, but now they play New Orleans, which is even worse. So it's just piling up against Zach Moss this week. So big loser.
Yeah, that 0.5 performance last week. Ooh,
yeah,
gross. All right, Tony, back to you. What you got?
Yeah, I think I'm going to put Nick Chubb up there in the loser column. Might be a little bit of a surprise, but I just got to say, Baker has he's just looked awful. I know a lot of that probably has to do with the shoulder injury. He's been banged up this year. We saw him have that leg injury a couple weeks ago. But this game is in Baltimore. It's against an underrated defense in an interdivisional game. Just not sure on what Hunt's status is going to be just yet, but it's looking like he could have some availability. At least that's what we're hearing from Stefanski early in the week. I kind of expect this to be a down week for Chubb. I'm not necessarily saying to bench him, but you're definitely going to temper expectations. Maybe a high end mid RB3.
Ooh, pretty low RB3. All righty.
Yeah, all right, remember, Chubb is very much a touchdown dependent running back, without being involved in that passing game, and he could sneak in for a score, but I don't expect them to put up monster numbers this week against this Baltimore defense.
I think that's fair. All right, Kyle, Saquon Barkley,
my snoozer of the week. He came back last week, didn't get a ton of carries, had I think it was 6 catches. They were playing Tampa Bay. It's a tough matchup. As far as I know, he came out healthy. This week they play Philly. I think he runs roughshod all over Philly all night long. So give me some Barkley this week as a snoozer.
Yep, love that matchup.
You don't have to worry about the injuries unless he gets hurt in this game, but
it's possible with Barkley.
It's very possible with Barkley. But as of right now, if he stays healthy, big game against Philly.
He might roll his ankle coming off the bus at this point. Not really sure,
That's entirely possible with him, actually.
All right.
They might be in different states, but he might have a little altercation, and maybe him and Kittle trip over each other.
They are kind of the injury twins there, aren't they?
They hop on a Zoom call with each other and somehow both end up hurt.
AJ
Something
Brown's
like that.
trying his darndest to make it triplets there with the injuries, but he's not quite to that level yet.
All right, guys, I'm going to throw my wild card at you. Tony, we're going to let you go first. And I'm going to throw at you Alex Collins going against Washington. Carson being out for the season. Tell me what you think about Alex Collins.
Not a fan. I mean, I don't know why we've been talking about starting Alex Collins. Touches the ball, but 10 times the past 2 weeks. So he could be looking at single-digit touches. He's not starting my starting rotation. I know that Pete Carroll has talked about getting Rashad Penny more involved in that offense. Of course, the week that they say they really need him, of course, he pulls a hammy and then he's out. So no surprise there. Alex Collins is nothing special. I mean, there are reasons why he's looking for somebody else to step up. So, I'm really hoping that this is a game where we see, Russell get back on track and this passing offense get back on track. That is really what drives this offense. Their offensive line is definitely far from elite. So, and Collins is not involved at all in that passing game. So, they don't really use him at all out of the backfield. I wouldn't even use him in a flex.
Kyle, anything to add?
I agree with everything he said. Like, you'd have to be real, real desperate, like as in have no other options on your roster to start this guy. Yeah,
But I'll give you a guy that you can probably pick up off of waivers and start over Alex Collins, and that's maybe a Rex Burkhead.
Yep.
I think he's a sneaky start against the Jets defense. I'd rather start somebody like that than somebody like Alex Collins.
Or Hilliard.
Absolutely. Now, all these people that had Alex Collins in their starting lineup, because that's pretty much all they had after Carson went down, are panicking now. So, way to throw that at him.
So.
They were he should have been panicking before he said anything, honestly.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So we are now through quarterbacks and running backs, and I'm going to blow this screen up for people to take a quick look at where we're at after going through those two positions. And now we will move on to wide receivers. And Kyle, we're going to let you go first again here. Who you got for me at wide receiver?
I'm going to hit you with my loser first again, Mike Williams. He's another repeat for me. I didn't realize till I picked these guys that they were repeats, Zach and Williams. But
it happens.
Last week he plays Pitt. He does poorly until the very end of the game. He gets a touchdown, kind of saves his day, but he's still not the guy we had in the first part of the season. Denver's not a great matchup, so I'm not buying his point total from last week and trying to chase those points this week. He's a loser for me.
Yeah, it looks like Keenan Allen has taken that receiving back. All right, Tony, what do you think?
I could do the same thing. I can give you my loser of the week, and kind of following in line with Kyle's quarterback. And it pains me to do this because I have stock all over the place in this guy, and that's Mr. AJ Brown. Just a brutal matchup for him this week. We saw what New England could do when they locked up Pitts last week, kind of took him totally out of that game plan. And I think Belichick's going to do the same thing here. He's going to eliminate A.J. Brown, lock him down, just hate this spot. He's banged up. I think I just saw him pop up again today with some type of a hand injury. Not saying to sit him, because if you drafted him, you've almost got to go with your studs. Just not a fan at all of him this week. Disappointed that I've got this matchup as I'm kind of scratching and clawing to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Belichick, man, he's a jerk.
Here's part of the problem too. Like, if the game was in Tennessee, I'd feel a lot better about the matchup. But in New England, it's just just a killer spot, killer matchup for the Tennessee Titans this week.
Totally agree. All right, Kyle, back to you. Who's your snoozer?
I'm going to hit you with Elijah Moore. So this kid's been crushing it since the bye week. Had a good game last week against Miami. This week they got Houston. It's an even better matchup. I don't know. This kid's on fire right now. I'm riding that wave. He's a snoozer for me.
Awesome. And yeah, Michael Carter being
His
out
targets
now.
keep going up too. So I mean, it's just I love everything about this kid right now.
Apparently they do too.
Yeah,
They're throwing the ball a lot.
a lot.
All right, Tony, hit us with some Mooney.
Yeah, man, I'm going with as David's son calls him, Darnell 00 Money. 16 targets last week. I mean, I had to look that up. It just that's insanity right there. He's averaging almost 7 targets a game coming into week 11. So that doesn't include the 16 targets last week. Gets a great matchup this week versus the Lions. They've already announced that Dalton is getting the start again this week on Thanksgiving. So look for him to hook up with M00 Money early and often this week on Thanksgiving.
Love it.
00 Money. I like it.
If you had to choose between starting him and AJ Brown this week, who are you starting?
I can't believe I'm getting ready to say this, but yeah, I mean, this might be one of those spots where just the upside is too great, the matchup is too great. I think if Fields was behind center, I would probably not start Money. Part of his value comes tied to Dalton, who is definitely a different type of passer, different type of quarterback, and apparently this guy is just, was a target monster. So that upside is hard to replace, and I just don't see AJ Brown producing that type of volume this week at New England.
Sorry to put you in such an awkward situation there,
No,
Tony.
not at all.
I actually loved seeing the struggle there. That was great.
AJ
sick.
Brown, it's one of my guys right there. So
yeah, no doubt. Alrighty, guys, let's move into the wild card here. Kyle, you get to go first on this one, and I want to know your thoughts on Emmanuel Sanders against New Orleans.
He's not been doing much lately, and now Knox is back. I gotta go with loser. He got Knox back. Beasley is playing pretty well. Diggs, they're just funneling targets to Diggs. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with loser. And I mean, New Orleans is not a great matchup either.
Yeah. Tony, I hear you clicking around looking for some statistics and stuff to come up with. I'm just kidding. What are your thoughts here, Tony? Emmanuel Sanders.
On Emmanuel Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Emmanuel Sanders. I think that this particular matchup is not the type of matchup that you want. But Emmanuel Sanders still kind of gets that volume. He does get those red zone looks in the end zone. I think this could be a spot where I might look for them to lean a little bit more on Emmanuel Sanders. Look for New Orleans maybe to key in on Diggs with Lattimore, and that could open up things for Sanders this week. So I'm going to put him in my snoozer column.
Oh, good, a split. I guess I get to play the game. Let's see. I think this is a toughie. I didn't have to expect to have to play this one. This is what I get for trying to choose a toughie. But I think it is a tough matchup. Sanders hasn't been performing great. With Knox being back, like Kyle said, I think he's gonna eat up some targets, but I think he may eat up a little bit more targets from Beasley this coming game than Sanders. And I think you're right. I think he gets a sneaky opportunity here. I think they're going to really focus in on Diggs because he's been going, and there is absolutely zero run game there from Buffalo. So opportunity should be there. So I think I'm also going to put him in the snoozer column. He's pretty far down. in rankings right now. And so I think he'll be able to outperform that at least. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in the snoozer column. All righty. So with that being said, let's go on to tight ends. And Tony, we'll let you go first with whichever tight end you want to go.
Blow him up so we can see him.
Oh yeah, here we go. Just so you guys can see that he's got his fan club hat on there.
And no audio either.
There we go. I unmuted him. There we go.
I'm not necessarily saying that I'm leading the Kyle Pitts fan club. I don't know what about me could possibly give you that impression.
President-elect.
I happen to absolutely love Kyle Pitts. Love him, coming into this Atlanta offense in the offseason. This is the matchup that we've been kind of waiting for against this soft Jacksonville pass defense. I know he's been a little disappointing, but he does play a significant snap count. He has a solid target share. He has a high percentage of routes run. Atlanta has him lining up all over the field. His ceiling is just so high because of each one of those factors. He puts him into kind of rare territory. It's only a matter of time before his production matches his usage, and I think this is going to be one of those weeks.
Yeah, he does well against good matchups. So I think we've noticed that.
He is a rookie.
Yep. He didn't do great against Dallas. I'm just saying.
Well, Dallas locked it down that game, though. So kudos to Dallas on that one. All right, Kyle, give us your tight end.
All right, I'm going to hit you with Hunter Henry as my loser. I know we've been talking about him on Wall Street as a sell. Touchdown dependent, had rough game last week against Atlanta. You got Jonnu Smith back. He plays Tennessee this week, who they're awful against receivers. They're actually pretty tough against tight ends. It's actually a bad matchup for him at the tight end position. I'm not starting Hunter Henry anywhere. Loser.
With a capital L.
Yeah.
L is for love.
Double L.
All
right, Tony, back to you. Who you got at loser at tight end this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna put Hockenson over there this week, and I'm a big Hockenson fan also. It's just kind of another situation here where it isn't so much the player or the guy as much as it is the matchup. The Bears have been playing tough against tight ends. Not really sure right now if Goff is going to get the nod. Again, not necessarily benching Hockenson because of that target share. He does give you that high floor. I'm just not going to expect fireworks in this game, and I'm not looking for it necessarily to be a Hockenson game this week.
Yeah, it's hard to trust that for sure. Alrighty, Kyle, that leaves you with Higbee.
Yeah, throw Higbee in that snoozer column. He's had pretty good targets the last few games, double-digit points 3 out of the last 4. And one of those was against Tennessee, who, like we said, is a bad matchup, a couple of neutral matchups in there. Green Bay is literally the only positive matchup for tight ends on the entire schedule that he has that I'm looking at right now. So I'm loving his chances of having a good game this week. Get Higbee in your lineups if you can for sure this week. If there was ever a week to play Higbee, this is it.
Well, there you have it. There haven't been many of those weeks, so
there haven't been, especially early on.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he's been getting more targets recently, so they're trying to, and it could be because of the Robert Woods injury, so he's kind of picking up some slack where Woods left off because Odell Beckham actually sucks, and people don't realize it for some reason.
It's the kicking net's fault. He just hasn't found the right kicking net. That's all.
That's right.
Alrighty, guys, let's go into our wild card really quick. And Tony, you're going to get to go first on this one. We're going to go with Mike Gesicki against Carolina.
Yeah, I don't like starting any players really against Carolina. he's a definite loser for me this week. Carolina has been very, very tough against opposing quarterbacks. It's not a positive matchup for Gesicki. I would rather start Higbee. Well, Higbee you have as a snoozer. I would definitely start Hockenson, maybe even Hunter Henry this week over a Mike Gesicki. Yeah, definite loser. I'm not rolling the dice with him against Carolina defense.
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, I almost picked him as my loser instead of Hunter Henry, but I actually like Hunter Henry a little less. But just based off of volume, Gesicki will at least get some targets, but I don't think he'll do anything with them. So yeah, definite loser.
Alrighty, simple enough. I didn't want to play anyways. No, I knew that would be an easier one. All right, guys, let's take a look at the board before we look at our super snoozers and losers. There's a blown up view of that. That's what we got going so far through all the positions: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Now it is time for our super snoozers and super losers of the week. Any position you could have chosen. Tony, we'll let you go first. Who is your super loser of the week?
Well, just kind of going right along what we were talking about with Mike Gesicki, my super loser of the week is Mr. Myles Gaskin. Coming off a nice fantasy day in week 11, I think it opens up the window as a great sell opportunity if you're a Gaskin owner. But that was also against the league's worst run defense in the Jets. Look for him to come crashing to earth this week versus a very strong Carolina defense. He certainly wouldn't be any of my lineups. So I've got him down as a super snoozer this week.
Poor Dolphins. All right, Kyle.
All matchups.
Kyle, give us your super loser.
My super loser is Leonard Fournette. So they got Indianapolis this week.
Whoa.
I mean, he had an all right game against the Giants. And I know we just saw Jonathan Taylor go roughshod over or I'm mixed up. Anyways, Leonard I saw Indy here and I'm thinking, oh, Taylor went crazy. No, anyways. So Leonard Fournette against Indy, it's not going to be a good matchup for him. I don't think he does very well this week. Very tough against the run. So, maybe, and we were talking about this on Wall Street before. He has a rough schedule the rest of the way. You're running out of opportunity to sell him, I think, right now. Because starting this week, his schedule is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. That schedule definitely gets tougher. All right, Tony, give me your super snoozer.
Yeah, I love me some Dalton Schultz as my super snoozer.
I like that too.
With Cooper, Amari Cooper's already been ruled out. Lamb is trending towards being out. Not sure how quickly he can bounce back from this concussion protocol. Usually, they're not declaring guys active until almost game day, so you don't see them kind of work through the protocol that quickly in order to be active for Thursday's game. So that being the case, I'm looking for Schultz to have a monster game. I think personally that he could finish this week as the number one overall tight end in one of the best matchups for tight ends. He had 8 targets in week 11. I see double-digit targets on Thanksgiving Day. I just want to keep an eye on the injury report to see Lamb's status. I still like Schultz if Lamb is active, but I like him infinitely more if Lamb also misses the game with Cooper. I think his value this week then just kind of quadruples.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah, I like
It
that.
sounds like Kyle too. Yeah.
I like that.
Alrighty, Kyle, that leaves us with your super snoozer.
Hit me with that Brandon Cooks, man. Disappointing game against Tennessee last week, but he goes right with my snoozer QB. They're playing the Jets. I think those two go ham. Cooks gets right this week, has a huge game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It goes right along with that Tyrod Taylor snoozer that we had earlier. So, alrighty, guys. Let's get another blown up view of this now that it's completed. And check out all your snoozers and losers of the week. Alex Collins being your absolute biggest loser on the list, probably.
He's the highlighted one, so
Poor guy, man.
gotta have a red highlight every week, I guess.
Yeah, now I'm picking such bad ones that we have to highlight them in red. They're that bad. So awesome, guys. Love to see it. Thanks for your analysis. Anything to add before we sign off?
I just want to let everybody know that supports us. We're thankful for you. Have a great Thanksgiving with your families. We'll be back live next week for Snoozers and Losers, and we'll see you Sunday live also. So thank you, guys.
Tony, you got anything?
Nothing more I could add to that.
Awesome.
Well,
Love it.
Thank
Awesome.
you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.